Hey, Bella. You were the first one. And all the other gamers have risen up to say hello as well. There's Cam, Brittany. I see some beautiful green faces. Now, before I do anything, I do believe that I have to share this out with the Twitterverse, because apparently YouTube is not telling everyone about my stream, which is oh so disappointing. I don't know why they don't. Josh, what's up, my dude? What is up to everybody? Doing well here. I'm just ready to get spooky with you. Get spooky with you. Alright. So what I'll quickly do, so hope nobody minds getting their picture taken on InstaSlam, but I am going to take a picture of the chat in all its glory so that I can share on my story the beauty that is all of you. Mannequin, thank you for the buckaroony. I'm going to make sure I get that included in the chat here as everybody's strolling in. Okay, so what I'll say, what should I say? I'm going to say live now, live as fuck. Yeah, we'll say live. Live, and then have the old, ye old swipe up bullshit. You guys seen that GIF before? It says swipe up, and you're like, oh, I guess I gotta do it. And then I can't forget to put the link, which I will grab off of Twitter. I'm walking you through my thought process right now. It's kind of a waste of time, but oh, thank you. Yeah, Jensen. Is Jensen here? You old wily bastard. He's not, but I'm gonna go to the tweet, copy link. Nice, that makes life infinitely easier, and I'm going to put that web link on Instagram. I wish it was a little bit easier. Someone sent me like some sort of thing that lets you do it. Yeah, but I didn't take the time to read through it because I'm lazy as fuck. Okay. So hopefully that'll go up here instantaneously, and all 10,000 followers on Instagram will just stream right over. Just easy peasy. Okay. B McQueen with the 5 says, hey, Spooky Daddy. Hello, B. How are you? How is everybody doing? We've switched back over to a different stream starting screen. Very exciting stuff. Hey, who won the game last night? What game we talking about? Also, yeah, Brasser, thanks for joining the Discord. It was good to chat with you in voice chat. It's good to, it's always fun to meet everybody. Guys, I'm gonna crack one. Who's cracking one with me? Ready? 3, 2. Okay, we're getting to a crack. I'm gonna crack one in 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh. You guys hear that ASMR? That's fucking Coke Zero, baby. Yeah, I know it affects my insulin levels. I don't even give a shit. Yeah, I know the aspartame gives me early onset dementia. I don't even give a shit. Wait, where am I again? Oh, that's right. T-Quick with the buckaroony. The poop. Nothing funnier than poop. T-Quick. The oldest joke in the book that just... God must have ordained feces from the very beginning, because farts, as we've determined prior, are quite funny. Beer shots. Debbie's got her vodka mix in front of me. All right. Why the moan? What else? What other noise am I supposed to make besides when I'm cracking open a Coca-Cola Zero? Zero sugar. Drunk stream part 2. No, this is a sugar substitute soda poppin' stream part 0, part 2. But I hope everybody's having a good day. Hello, Bridget Jones. Welcome back. I know I did. Today was a nice, beautiful day. Got to get out in some wilderness. And it was kind of cool. There was, on the trail that I went on to, there was quite a few, like, really bright, quite a few bright yellow butterflies that were kind of like just like doing loops around me and stuff like that. And then there was these other butterflies that were like black with like blue tips on the end of their wings. So they were both just like a really gorgeous mixture of whatever variation of butterfly they were. It's funny when I think of butterflies, I always think of the episode of SpongeBob. What is this? Is this the bread moth? With the 2. He says, I have a question.
Hey, listen.
Something I cannot pronounce, but I looked it up, bread moth, and it translates to, well, maybe I should attempt it. Qui custodie ipso custe. I don't know if that's Latin, and it's a dead language, so I don't really know how to pronounce it, so maybe I got it perfectly right through some sort of spell. Maybe perhaps some sort of possession took me over to pronounce that perfectly, but it means, who watches the watchers? It's a very good question, bread moth. Who does watch the watchers? I suppose the peeping toms will handle that. No one ever asked that question. Who peeps the peeping toms? I guess, like, you know, the older suburban mothers who used to be peeped on have now translated over to the peepers of the peeping toms. And they are able to transmit this information over Facebook. And now they are known as Karens. You're gay for flutterbys? Dude, that's sick. Me trying to speak other languages. Yes, as you can tell, I'm just kind of fluent in all things. Miss Molly, hello. And Lils, hello. Welcome, welcome. Pizza hearts all around. Guys, we got 7 stories tonight. Should be 7 good ones. 7 bangaroonies that we're gonna bang out. And I'm glad you're deciding to spend your evening here with me instead of all of the trillion other things that you could be doing, such as masturbating and or robbing a bank. Those are your only 2 options, and I was your 3rd, and I believe you've chosen correctly. Still debatable, though. Good grief, you lost your dollar. Where the hell's your dollar? Was it a poop dollar? This guy is my dad. I am your dad. I am dad incarnate. The truest of all dads. King of the dads, let's read. Joel's fluent in hentai. It's very true. I speak many tentacles, all the variants. Sleeping is not on that list. Don't you even dare consider it. Oh. Hi or hey Emmy says I'm never going outside again. I have the worst sunburn ever. Yeah, I've been getting like starting to notice some dry skin from sunburn too, and it's weird because I feel like I haven't really spent that much time out in the sun other than like interdispersed. Well, I guess I have kind of and not even realized it, but definitely a lot more UV radiation than I am used to lately. Let me close out of Discord quick just so it doesn't slow down anything here. Even though I feel like this is not a very tech-heavy stream. Brasser, you really want to wrestle me, man. I don't know if you secretly want to hurt me? Or secretly insert a finger somewhere that when I'm not paying attention, such as my jean jacket and or fanny pack. Are you trying to put a finger in my fanny pack, dude? Trying to steal my loose change, bro? What the hell's going on with that? What the hell, man? Listening, whacking off a bank, and masturbating, yes. Or masturbating in a bank while you rob it. Now that would be next level. What if that's the only way you could get off? Would you do it? Molly, I want to know if I'm reading some smut. Yeah, so I felt that my discussion of reading potentially smut or adult-like content for Patreon has been discussed for a while now. So I finally took a poll of those who are on my Patreon, and it was a very split, not completely split down the middle. The options were: would you pay 25 buckaroons for adult fiction and or erotica on Patreon? Now 25 is a bit much, but I was just kind of like throwing it out there, mainly the concept of doing that in general. And it was really funny because the answers were yes, ! Or no, you disgusting pervert. And there was quite a few more no, you disgusting perverts than yeses, so that caught me off guard a little. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I guess we don't have as many dirty minds in the Patreon as I had thought. But I'm okay with that, because I think all they were really trying to say is we would do it for $15. So I think what I'm going to do, I think I got it all planned out. $1 early access, $5 for an additional full-length creepypasta that will be released once a month. And then also at a separate time of that month will be a full length, fully length and hard and lubed up adult fiction that we will include for, I don't even know, 10 or 15 or something like that. Just for the real hardcore fans, if you understand what I'm getting at. But geez, Let's Read was really a big perv tonight. I guess I kind of am, so I apologize for that. But hey, you gotta feel out your bass, you know what I mean? Jackie with the 5. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that. Brasser wants that change. And T-Quick with the 1 buckaroonie. What an angel. Daddy Sauce, you have a question? Yes. All questions are welcome, even the silly ones. If anybody in the world tells you that asking questions is bad, you tell them to eat shit, because they're bad. Brian, you're going to rent a dirty mind. You're going to rent it out. We are all a little twisted. Porn is poison. I honestly, sadly enough, Verses, I might be right there with you. Excuse me. I was sneezing out all my poison from my lungs. You think your thirsty gals pull up in the stream? It might be a biased sample. That's a good point. The most devoted of thirsties. I've been thirsty though too. The timer, yeah, so that's a bomb. Just kidding. No, that's whenever basically I like to give about 20 minutes for everybody to kind of stroll in. And then once the timer gets down to 0, it will say read. And then I will switch over to our reading screen. I'll switch up the music so it's a little more creepy for you. And we will get to me doing a live recording of 7 true scary stories from Reddit. Let's not meet. I sneeze out porn. I do. Poison porn. Would ever do a video where listeners call in? You know, I could probably do that through Discord. I come to notice that, like, my personality, like, if I have to have somebody on the show, we would have to be very organized with what we talk about, because I do notice, and maybe you guys have noticed this, but when I've had people on before, it kind of like slows down my word vomit quite a bit. I'm almost like too conscientious of other people's like I guess, feelings towards me or some shit like that, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't know, like the conversation might not flow super well, and if we don't really have something that we're going to be discussing like outright, it would be I feel like maybe kind of boring for people. When am I going to show my face? You can go on Discord. I'm on there in our selfies. Discord is located down below in the description box. Tweak, you always wanted to narrate, bro. Well, go ahead and do it, man. What made me start YouTube? My mom, she forced me to do it. She said, you better do this or you're not getting any cake. And I said, fuck it, mom. I'll do it for a job. Octopus Prime says, too many feels in Discord. I don't even know what that means. You have to be more specific. Get to Discord. He's got a cute face. Yes, I cannot deny that. Hannah, what is going on? How was thine stay? Astro says that's kind of Swamp Dweller saying he does call-in streams. Yeah, what is he? How does that kind of proceed whenever he does that? Is that like, does it kind of feel iffy or cringy or anything of that nature? Or is it like, is there a direction to it? Molly's got material for me to read for days. She's gonna be stacking it up. I'm gonna be on back order. Oh yeah, it's Hannah's birthday, everybody. Happy birthday, Hannah. This one's devoted to you. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, ooh, lubed up butter socks. Thank you, Joe. Oh, you are welcome. Thank you, Cheyenne. Always good to see you. Welcome back. And Rhea91 with the 2 says, just wanted to say hi. Well, hi to you, Rhea. Hope you're having a good old day. This is Hannah's B-Day party. Hell yeah. Utah Raptor 2003 says, couldn't help but compare your work to Art Bell's old Ghost to Ghost AM radio shows and the podcast Jim Harold's Campfire. Well, thank you. I love those guys. Rest in peace, Art Bell. I wouldn't say that they're inspirations because I can't say that I'm like kind of the same caliber as them, you know what I mean, as far as the same kind of content goes and having people on to discuss different ideas. There was one time actually, and I was kind of curious like how you guys would react to it, but I had a guy on that recorded the whole thing, and basically he contacted me through another person that knew me on Skype, and basically just told me that he was from the future, that he did certain time traveling stuff, and I thought, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna talk to this guy and see what it's all about. Hey A-Dubs, how are you, man? Stopping by to say hello, hope all is well. We are doing good. Just rambling on at this point with 10 seconds left before we kick it off. But real quick, I just wanted to say it was a very strange experience. But basically, like, there was this one individual who used to talk about, like, that I listened to. He said he was a time traveler. He was part of some program with DARPA or some shit where him and Obama, when Obama's name was Barry Soetoro or something like that, and he was part of the CIA and part of like these childlike programs where they're like kind of like brought up within the system and they're like pre-chosen, and the fact that they're kids, they're able to travel through time easier and through these machines and stuff, or else they're able to like remote view, or else they're able to use teleporters that go to like Mars and shit. And he tells this story, and it was so weird because I had heard this guy tell this story before, but this guy that I was talking to was telling the exact same story. He had no idea that I knew this story prior from my sort of going down the rabbit hole of YouTube, as I'm sure many people have, and he just told the same identical story but tried to play it off as if though it was, I was the crazy one with that story or something like that. And It was the weirdest experience I've ever had on Skype. Pradeep is a Karen. Yeah, Pradeep is a Karen. He demands to see the manager in my room. Fry, you can tell a fart. I talk to weirdos. Well, weirdos, to be honest, sometimes are much more interesting than the normies. They give you something to consider once in a while. I'm a little bit of a weirdo. Real cool God with the 2 says, hey babe, what's cracking? Not much. What's cracking into these crab cakes? Nico with the 2 says, my man, how are you, brother? I am good. Good. Now that you guys are all here, we're almost up to 325 people starting out. That's awesome. June babies unite. We still got half of June to go. Many more cakes to light. It would be pretty wild if people came in and we just had like birthdays and stuff like that, but I guess that would have to involve like living. Dude, how cool would it be if like you guys could all join like a VR chat or something with me where we were all wandering around an area, and then I could like, you know, choose to like talk to some of you or something like that. You could like join in, but like a VR chat that's just like full of like hundreds of people, and then, you know, we could, you know, zoom in to talk to someone, but then, you know, obviously it could also revolve around like the narrations and stuff. But at any time I could just like go up to somebody in the VR chat and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And then they could just like give their 2 cents real quick, and if it gets too wild I could just cut out or whatever. I don't know, that'd be dope. That's a legit plot in American Dad episode. Oh shit. Alright, my friends, so we are gonna switch over to our reading screen. As always, if you have a story that you would like to submit, please submit it to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. Send all your creepy, paranormal, and or true scary stories to that, whether you've experienced a stalker or a break-in, or just maybe you were the stalker. You had a bad breakup and you decided to get back at them and you wanted to give it from your point of view so people understood. Just, you know, send it into me, either the Reddit or send it to my email at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, wherever you decide. I want to read it. I want to tell people your story. I need content. Please send me your story. Oh my god, I need content. But yeah, nice grammar, nice labels. We'll get it done. Bread Moth hates Reddit. Yeah, my subreddit's the only good subreddit, so you won't even have to waste your time with any of the other subreddits. You just come chill with us. We'll read you some spooky stories. But yeah, once again, thanks for being here, guys. We're gonna switch over to my man Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Let's see. We'll get a vibe for this one and see how it goes. This one's called Another Dead World. Stumbled across another dead world here. Face reveal. Head over to Discord. Stalker POV. I did actually do stories about the stalker's point of view, I think, a while ago. And it didn't get as well received as it normally does. I don't think people kind of understood the title as the way that I typed it, maybe, or something like that. Everyone with June birthdays, leave a pizza heart emoji. There you go. We can find each other. Have a June party. It's June, and I'm a prune. If you ask for a face reveal, just say Discord. Well, where else am I supposed to? It's there. I'm not lying to you. Go to Discord. Selfies. Go check it out, my friends. I just don't want to do it on my YouTube channel. And I can't do it here. I guess I could set up a camera, but fuck that shit, dude. I ain't doing that. It's a pain in the ass. You guys are going to see me pick my nose or some shit and be like, ooh, who's that guy? Yeah, Cashy, please go stalk somebody so we need more content. We need to start staging content. Okay, so this first one will probably be the headline story. It's called My Date from Hell, 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 Hell. I'm an 18-year-old from the UK. This happened in February 2019, and I was 17 at the time. I got set up on a semi-blind date. We had seen photos of each other by a mutual friend, and this guy we'll call Cameron. He was 19. Cameron seemed like your average guy. Maybe a little into video games and anime and stuff, but overall, nothing my friend told me about him seemed off in any way. Our mutual friend gave us each other's numbers, and we texted for a night and decided to meet in a Starbucks the next day since we were both free. I never like to meet new people this soon, but I figured since Cameron knew my friend, it couldn't possibly go wrong. But how mistaken I was. I arrived slightly early, ordered my coffee since I never liked guys to feel that they had to buy anything for me, and parked up on a seat facing away from the door and pulled out my book. I'm maybe there for 15 minutes chilling out, and I get a text saying he's here. So I'm like, great, I'm at X table. I feel a presence over my shoulder, and I turn my head slightly in acknowledgement. He must be here. Before I even get the chance to squeak out a hello, his lips latched onto my neck, and he starts sucking my neck. Now, I don't like when people are touching my neck at the best of times. I'm incredibly ticklish, and I get super uncomfortable by people even being around my neck. The few times I've had massages or hair treatments, I've been holding my neck just in discomfort, and he's latched on it like a leech. And this man smells horrendous, kind of like dust personified. I freak out and elbow his chest to get him off of me. He lets go and looks at me with this weird expression on his face and laughs in just sort of a deadpan manner. It's really, really creepy, and I started to become alarmed. I ask him what that was about, and he just says, I thought it was cute. Cute? In what world? I try to have a conversation. I'm like, okay, first impressions don't mean anything. Let's try and give him a chance. But he's just creepily staring at my chest. He says, wow, I didn't know Asians could have chests like those. I better not let you go. That's a direct quote, and I cannot make this up. I'm distinctly uncomfortable, but I don't want to just run away. He's giving me really weird vibes, so I go into the ladies' bathroom and wait for someone else to come in. I ask her to help me get out of here undetected. I don't want this man following me home or some craziness. She, of course, agrees, and she lends me her hat and scarf. It's February in the UK, after all, and we come out of the bathroom together, and she manages to sneak out of the back door of the Starbucks without him noticing me. Whoops, she manages to help sneak. Oh, whoopsies. Yeah, he should have just sucked her blood right then and there. Probably would have been way better. Way easier. Just get right. When you're a vampire, you kind of just gotta get right to the point. He sucked her neck beard. Hey, 400 people, baby. Let's get it to 420, dude. She, of course, agrees, and she lends me her hat and scarf, as it was February in the UK, after all. And we come out of the bathroom together, and she manages to help me sneak out of the back door of the Starbucks without him noticing. He asked my friend where I went, but I told my friend to never mention me again. I was too terrified. I know I probably didn't behave well. I should have just told him I was leaving, but honestly, I was just too scared. Dear guy who decided it was appropriate to suck my neck before he'd even said hello, please, never, ever text me again. I just want to read this follow-up because there's a lot of edits at the bottom here that I feel like might be mildly interesting. A few people were asking about the friend. The friend told me off for leaving without telling Cameron, saying I was horrible and should have given him a chance, so I unfriended him too. Can't be having people like that in your life. I just want to thank everyone for the overwhelming support I got from this post. I've been trying to respond to every comment, but there is a lot. I remember this happening this morning and thought, since I have much going on, why don't I type it up and post it? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's been over a year in a bar, a glimpse. I have not seen Cameron. Thank you for all the updates and support. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, so nothing. I thought there was going to be some sort of follow-up. Monday morning, can you message me the link to send you my True Stalker stories? I mean, yeah, so it's basically, I mean, I can just tell you right now, it's Reddit, so Reddit, so reddit.com. It'll be the front, it's called the front page of the internet. And so it's reddit.com/r/Let's Read Official. That's the best place to send it. Yeah, or let's read submissions@gmail.com. And like I said, guys, if you ever want to know something, where to find me on social media, Instagram, let's read.official, Twitter, let's read creepy, everything you possibly ever want is down in the description below, or in the description of like my channel thing, my channel like description, or all my videos, you know what I mean? So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Bridget Jones with the 5 says, what's the weirdest thing that happened to you this week? Oh. I guess just yeah, nothing really. I can't think of anything outright too weird that I'm not already used to, you know what I mean? Sometimes I do get some pretty weird DMs from people and stuff, but that kind of creep me out, but I won't dig too much into that. Ever watch Forensic Files? I did. I actually, for my freaking forensics class in college, it was an online class. So this like solidified my distaste for online classes because it was so easy. It was so pointless. Like you would watch like an episode of Forensic Files, and then you would also go through a PowerPoint, and then you were supposed to like, they were somehow correlated between like the techniques that were used, like, I don't know if it was called like luminol or something of that nature that would be able to detect blood after it's already been cleaned up, and things of that nature. And like basically like to do quizzes and stuff, it was really easy because you could just like look things up, and you know, you're on the honor system. But you know who else is on the honor system? Fucking pirates. That's who. And I was an old pirate of me college, so I cheated me way to the top of my forensics class, even though I had no fucking reason to do forensics at all. Not really sure why they gave a shit. But anyways, it was fun. It was fun watching the Forensics Files show. And but near the end, I think I've told people this before, but like we had to like create our own crime scene, and then like say like in really explicit detail exactly how we were going to solve the crime and how the crime would be solved and this kind of stuff. And have you heard of David Icke? I have heard of David Icke. He was always into the reptilian stuff, and he recently got kicked off of YouTube, which is interesting. The weird side of YouTube is slowly becoming less and less. You're gonna have to go somewhere else for that kind of stuff, I guess. I guess it's starting to become me. Maybe I can take their place. Just kidding. Please, YouTube, don't get rid of me. Please. Do I edit my own videos? I do. It's pretty simple. Sometimes I'll edit them in Discord and people get to listen, and I just like click-clack my way through the audio, and kind of like in a cookie-cutter format if you haven't kind of noticed by now. Good morning. It's good to see you. Can't do accident reconstruction without being at the scene. Yeah, it's like you just have to like, you had to create the scene yourself and then be, you know, utilizing all the information you learned prior. But it didn't make any sense because you didn't learn shit prior, you know what I mean? Like everything was so easy. All the quizzes and, you know, exams and discussion were so easy prior to that. And then the final was like, imagine playing through Dark Souls and you considered it easy, and then like the last boss of the game was like the last boss of the game, but you have no experience with how hard the game actually is. And then all of a sudden it just, and I remember like it was the only time I've ever emailed the professor during that time. I was like, How do you actually expect us to do this? And I ended up completing it, but it was just like such an arduous task and just so pointless sometimes. Like, I don't even know. Breadmouth with the 2 says, no creepy paranormal stories when you were an RN. Shoot. Honestly, not really. I remember when I worked at a nursing home, there was a small, I think she was from Indonesia. She said that she could see like ghosts and stuff. She was another like nursing assistant that would do like pill passes and stuff like that. And she was, like a prayer warrior and all that kind of stuff, she called herself. And she just said that she could see, like, demonic entities and things that would kind of, like, loom over certain, residents of the nursing home or whatever. Quite interesting, I would say. But I had never seen anything. And, but, people had said that they've seen stuff, different things within that nursing home that certainly creeped them out. Is YouTube my main job? It is. YouTube is, and the podcast are my go-to gig, thanks to you guys. Erotic lizard people narration videos. Yes, we are slowly making our way. That's how low I am stooping here, eventually. But yeah, then when I worked at the hospital, I almost like wanted some sort of paranormal stuff to happen, and there was like an orderly that would go down to the morgue from time to time, and she said it felt creepy, but she said she never saw anything. But I do recall, like, on our floor, they said that there was some kind of blue man, like some sort of blue light entity or something like that. Catherine, I'm 30, the wisest 30-year-old you ever met. Yeah, like some sort of bluish man as you walked back towards the one back hallway on the north side, I believe. And I never saw anything. Though sometimes when you're going back to a patient that was in the far back area, walking by yourself and everybody's asleep and it's quiet and you're far away from the nurse's station, it certainly can feel a little creepy at times, But it's kind of what I enjoyed about the, he would sing, I'm blue, da-ba-dee-da-ba-die. You could hear him from a distance. You're like, what the fuck? But night shift, working in the hospital, was kind of nice. Especially since I didn't have to work in the ED. They were the ones that got all the crazy shit. I feel like I was actually in like one of the best scenarios to work night shift at the hospital. Was like a lot of like surgical patients and stuff, and then patients who were like with it. Whereas like other, like down in the ED, they got all the crazy drunk kids and all the insane people late at night that kind of have to come through them first, and then pretty much everything down in the ED. And then there was a place called Medical that like they capped their nurses out at 8 patients or something, and it's just like, and sometimes could go even higher. And honestly, I remember like working there for a little while, getting pulled there, and it was just like the biggest pain in the ass, like trying to like keep track of like 8 different people plus all the time. It was just like a little too much. Bridget Jones with the 10 says, can I get a recording of you humming 10 hours or longer? Please, it's an emergency. Okay, I'll start now. Donate 500, get a face reveal. Hey, maybe, just maybe, don't tempt me. Our little village was the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and I could count the amount of houses on 2 hands. We were a really quiet and close-knit community, and nothing ever happened there. Proper out-in-the-sticks stuff. One night a few years ago, my mom and my stepdad had gone out to this concert and left me in charge of my little brother and the dog. I wasn't very old, about 14, and I felt really proud that my parents trusted me enough to do that. I thought I was a pretty cool big brother and thought we'd be doing cool babysitter stuff like staying up late, eating pizza, etc. I'm kind of glad we did, because I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't. At about 10:30, the power cut out. I didn't think anything of it because the weather hadn't been great lately, and I figured that had something to do with it. I got some candles out of the cupboard and lit it. Lit it. I got lit. I got litty. What's that saying? Like, I feel like it's so embarrassing, like, learning new sayings and stuff like that. Yeah, like when people say no cap. Yo, listen up. No cap. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and say no cap. Like, I get it that no cap means, like, no shit or not, you know, I'm not kidding around or something like I get it, but, like, where does it derive from? Like, is cap short for something? Like, no capybaras? The large rodent creature. Yes, guys, please finger that like button as hard as you can. Give it the old wazzle dazzle. Maybe the face will ruin the voice. It could. It's happened to me a few times with voice actors that I like. Hey, Ray with the 3 says, this is kind of random, but I just want to say thanks for pronouncing my name right last time, though everyone always pronouncing it as Rye, like the bread, Lamau, because of the spelling. Anyways, I hope you have a great night. Thank you, Ray. You are more than welcome. Thank you for the 3. No cap, sit on my lap. Yo, no, that's what Santa Claus says, probably. Yo, no cap, please sit on my lap. I got some candles out of the cupboard and lit them and put some of our... God damn it. And put some of our favorite songs on. As soon as I sat back down, Sonny, my little brother, turned to me and, being the weird little kid he was, told me very calmly that someone was outside. I was a little perturbed by him, but the dog hadn't done anything, so I presumed it was just the neighbors or something. He just shrugged and went back to his drawings. There's a running joke in our house that you don't need a clock with the dog around because he is such a creature of habit that he will consistently get up at exactly the same time every night to tell you that it's time to initiate his nightly protocol to go to bed. It was about 3/4 of an hour after the power went out when my dog decided that now was the time. I told Sonny to go get the dog his biscuit while I let him out for his pee. Now, our kitchen is an extension to the original house, and so as such has a flat roof that competitively... it's a bit odd, sorry. Competitively... Exiao with the 5. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. How art thou? Also, yeah, if you guys ever send in a dono and, you know, just weren't able to put a message in, just at me with whatever you want to say, and or at a moderator, and I will be sure to read it, because I would hate for someone to dono and not be able to get to say something. You know how it is. Now, our kitchen is an extension to the original house, and so as such, has a flat roof that's competitively low. Competitively? Maybe he meant comparatively. Competitively low to the ground. Oh, yeah, comparatively. Okay. It's a very competitively low roof. Now, our kitchen is an extension to the original house, and so as such, has a flat roof that's comparatively low to the ground compared to the rest of the house, and offers easy access to the bathroom window. As I open the door so the dog could do his thing, Sonny pushes past me in the doorway and whispers, "I knew you were out there. I'm calling the police." As he turned around with the biggest, proudest smile you had ever seen on his face, there was a very distinct rustling coming from just above the doorway. I don't think I'll ever forget the way Sonny's face dropped when he looked just above my head. I looked up. The man sitting on the roof above me panicked, tried to kick me, and then ran off into the next door's garden and presumably into the cornfields surrounding our village. I was scared stiff, and Sonny was bawling his eyes out. I ushered him inside as quickly as I could and got a knife from the kitchen. We both went to his room, and I told him to try and get some sleep while I waited for our parents to come back. It was agonizingly long for... It was an agonizingly long 4 hours before they did. My stepdad immediately went outside to check and see if everything was all right. I heard them talking about how something had smashed the fuse box. Obviously, we called the police, but they didn't come until later that day. They did a search of the immediate premises and found a makeshift bed in a nearby disused barn along the... Whoops. Oh, Jesus. What the fuck? This is creepy as hell. They did a search of the immediate premises and found a makeshift bed in a nearby disused barn along with pictures of silhouettes of us in the shower through the frosted glass. I think it's pretty safe to say the whole experience definitely shook us up. We moved out as soon as we could, but I still shut curtains whenever I can, and I see shadows underneath every door I see. Sonny keeps quiet about it, but I'm not sure if that's just because his brain has cut it out or what. Yeah, we're only on the second story. Didn't miss a whole lot here. Deshay, how are you? Came to drop a like. No worries. We're just on story number 2 of 7, so it's only about 46 minutes in, which is pretty open. And we're at like 500 people, which is hopefully a sign that YouTube is... I sound like L from Death Note. Yeah, I always thought that I would be very good at like playing an anime character or dubbing an anime character that's kind of monotone, being very evil. This isn't possible. No, that's impossible. It's me, a character from Resident Evil. Let's see, L Death Note dub. Anime scene Death Note L's first appearance, English dub. I kind of just want to listen to what he sounds like. Okay, no socks. We're going to pause this music real quick. Oh my god.
I am Al.
I am Al.
This is him?
He's nothing like I thought he'd be.
I'm Yagami of the NPA.
The NPA.
Matsuda.
I'm Aizawa. Mugi. Yukita.
I'm very sorry we're late. Currently, the 5 of us are...
Bang.
What the hell was that?
If I were Kira, you'd be dead, Mr. Soichiro Yag.
If I were Kieta, you'd be dead, Mr. Syuk. Alright, well, I don't know why, but like I watched that whole series with the with like the Japanese, and I feel like he sounded cooler as a Japanese person. Or like in the Japanese like original language or whatever. I know people always say like dubs kind of ruin things, but I think it really has more to do with just like your kind of familiarity with what you heard first, you know? So then whenever you hear it done in another sort of rendition, such as if you read a book and then saw the movie, obviously you're going to say the movie was worse or the book was better or whatever, because or if you saw like, say you went and watched Lord of the Rings and then you read the book and you're like, I like Lord of the Rings the movie better. Capping equals slang for lie or fake. No cap, slang for legit or for real. No, I get it. I just don't know like where it came from. Also, a lot of people are like kind of like really far behind on the stream, which I don't understand. Maybe YouTube does that on purpose or something. Yeah, everybody's mentioning about no cap right now. What the hell? That was like quite a while ago. That's strange. Curvy Aries says, this guy's voice. I've literally abandoned all of my favorite shows from cable, Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime for the last week. Been binge watching this channel and loving every moment. Well, thank you, Curvy. Appreciate that. That makes me feel high class. Yo, you're reading Lord of the Rings right now, Addison. Nice. A joke. Do you like my dress? It's an American dress. One yank and it's off. Can I do any scary impressions? Why don't we put a smile on that face? What's the one? What does Pennywise sound like? Hiya, Georgie. This is the old one with what's his name? Fucking Tim Curry. Dude, Tim Curry, like, in my opinion, the old It movie, like it was like the TV show, the TV series where it was like 4 episodes, like the mini series, that was only relevant because Tim Curry did such a fucking bang up job as the clown. And I would say the new ones were pretty good, but I don't think that they would have had as... I don't even think it would have been brought back into relevance if it wasn't for Tim Curry kind of bringing that clown to, you know, this sort of like iconic status, you know what I mean? But yeah, Tim Curry was... I just felt like the new It clown, though I think he did a good job, and he kind of talked a little like Winnie the Pooh, but like, I just felt like he didn't have as much personality as like Tim Curry. I just felt like Tim Curry's character was like, there was like a relationship that he had with some of the characters, like in his ability to like torment them. And maybe it was just because of the way that they kind of like edited things back on like TV movies in like the late 80s and stuff like that. Bread Moth with this, you make me shiver with anticipation. Yeah, what is... Hiya, Georgie! I love that fucking movie, man. But I did like the way that they represented, like, as I was honestly really curious when they were going to bite Georgie's arm off. I was like, holy shit, are they going to show it? And they did. They showed his goddamn arm getting fucking ripped the fuck off. Stephanie with the 5 says, keep it up. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Lila's doing some Photoshop to Pradeep. Tim Curry is super... Yeah, he really... Honestly, he's super underrated now. But, like, I think people knew of his, like, godhood back in the day. Really unfortunate right now that, like, I believe he's had a stroke, like a pretty severe stroke. And, you know, essentially is living life in a relatively incapacitated state. Not completely incapacitated, like, you know, obviously. But, like, it was... I think a tough recovery road for him, but like, I mean, I think I first saw him on Muppet Treasure Island, and holy fuck, what a badass, man. He could sing, he could act, he was, I don't know, he was just a very inspirational, like, high energy guy that, like, if he was your grandpa or uncle or something like that, like, it would just be like the world's biggest joy to go visit him. There's like, oh yeah, I forgot that he was the voice of, what the fuck's his name? Nigel Thornberry. Yes, precious. The Empty Void with the 2 says, I still remember when you said my ending on live. Nice, dude. Let's do it again. He was on Criminal Minds. You kidding me? You kidding me? Ashero says, I fully... heartily agree that Tim Curry is the reason the original was so iconic. Had anyone else been Pennywise, it would have been faded into just another King work by now. I know, and I don't know. People sometimes criticize the actual Stephen King novel itself just because it was such a, I guess, such a... I wouldn't describe it as a clusterfuck, but I guess people are just... I haven't completely read it other than some of the audiobook that I listened to, but it's... I guess it's kind of like a cocaine-filled nightmare, you know what I mean? That's kind of all over the place with, like, the existential or interdimensional, like, turtle and, you know, versus the void lights. And, you know, you need that kind of wild out there stuff, but it's... to make it to the iconic level that it has, it almost makes me kind of, like, think, like, fuck, we could do that. Well, I think one of us are just as smart as Stephen King to write something badass. The Empty Void with another 2 says, like, a year ago. Oh, wow, it's been a while. Brad said, Tim Curry was amazing. The other guy did the same as Tim Curry. He was in Clue. Yes, yeah, Clue was that movie. And then, obviously, what's the one where he's dressed in, like, cross-dressing? I forget that. It's kind of like a Halloween movie staple. Hiya, Jordan. We all float, too. Actually, how the fuck does he say it? Like, y'all float. I kind of have to yell it, but I don't want to yell it because I don't think I can really whisper it. And my roommate's probably sleeping. Stephen King was just on a lot of drugs. That's fair. He is very long-winded. Very, very long-winded. I'm a 26-year-old female from Michigan, but I was 20 at the time this took place. I live in a safe town, and I was working at a Walmart in the next town over, which is an even safer town. I worked midnights because I'm definitely not a people person. Every day I would go home on my lunch to see my new puppy who, to this day, had kept me going through countless problems in my life. Working midnights, there was basically no cars on the road when I was going home on my lunches. It was when I was 4 miles from work at a stoplight that I noticed a car had been behind me for a mile or two. I drive like a grandma and always go the speed limit, so there wasn't a reason for someone to stay behind me with clear open road all over. I keep on my way home. The car is still behind me another mile. I thought, okay, that's weird, but maybe just a coincidence. I then had to turn on a side street I then had to turn on a side street which only has neighbors along either side for about a mile. And you guessed it, the car turned too. I started to get worried but still brushed it off. Maybe they live down the street. It's when I turned into my neighborhood that I started to lose it when the car was still following me. I turned down my street but didn't pull into my driveway because I didn't want to lead this creeper to my house. So I kept driving and took another way back out of my neighborhood, and the car was still tailing me. Just to be positive before I called 911, I drove through my neighborhood the same way as before, and he continued to follow again. I got back on the main road from the side street and dialed 911, crying because at that point I was terrified, and explained the situation to them. I headed back towards my work. She asked me where I was, and I told her the crossroads, and lucky me, there was a patrol unit a mile up. Yeah, and the car's still behind me. She stayed on the phone with me and told me to pull into the 7-Eleven at the crossroads, and the police were close to it. The car pulls in after me too, and the dispatcher later told me to turn my hazards on so the police know which car was which. The car must have seen the police car and tried to leave, but not today, buddy. They stopped him on his way out. I was just parked in a spot crying hysterically. An officer comes over and asks if I know a Michael Stonebreaker, and I say I don't. The officer continues to say he has a good amount of illicit substances on him, and this isn't his first arrest, so he'll be going away for a while. Why did he follow me? What was his motive? The officer also said the creeper said that he was following me because he thought I was his friend. Why didn't he pull up to me at the red light where we were stopped at? Why wouldn't he have tried to get my attention somehow? It was a very terrifying experience for me, even if it doesn't sound scary to some of you. And this taught me a valuable lesson. Pay close attention to your surroundings, day or night. Anything can happen, even in a safe town. Oh, the It book. Yeah, it wasn't the It book like 1100 pages or more or something like that. Does anyone remember Tales from the Crypt? I do. Funnily enough, a person that was, and I might include the audio, I think, actually in this video just for fun, and I'm thinking that I will do that, and because there's a YouTube video, or YouTube channel, and podcast. Actually, I'm kind of spacing on the name right now, but I feel bad. But I told them that I would include some of their audio because they do really high quality audio work and narration on their channel and their podcast, and basically wanted some promotion, but I've been kind of dragging my feet for a while to just kind of get them out there. And honestly, if I can include someone at the end of a story, I'm more than happy to do it if I consider their audio like of quality, you know what I mean? Because some people kind of like come at me asking for, you know, collaborations, but their audio quality is doo-doo poo-poo. But anyways, they actually got the guy, believe this or not, and this is not coincidental, this is actually 100% true, and I guess you'll be hearing it tomorrow. He got the guy who does the voice for the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt to do an opening for his narration that follows. Somehow got in contact with the guy. I have no idea, but so you will actually tomorrow, when this video comes out, get to hear the voice of the Crypt Keeper in a Let's Read video, so that's going to be pretty badass. Can I do Freddy Krueger voice impressions? I don't really know what Freddy sounds like. I'm in your dreams. Arr, arr, I'm scary. Yar.
Oh, it's me, the Crypt Keeper.
I can't do his voice, but you'll hear it, and I heard a sample of it, and it sounds fucking amazing. I should do cameos. I would love to. I would love to do, like, actual professional work, but I have no fucking idea how to, like, get involved in that sort of realm of things. I guess I assume it's just, like, getting involved in an agency or something like that. Bill Skarsgård is the new Pennywise. He's a Swedish actor. He's a great actor, and not to be odd, but he's very ripped, my dudes. He does the Netflix show. Oh, nice, cool. Yeah, not the best. How far are we? So this is story 4 of 7. Depending on how quickly this goes, I might even consider extending things a little bit. Freddy Krueger's not a pirate. Aha, I'm gonna be in your dreams, stealing your booty. I'm a college student working in retail, and over winter break, I was taking as many shifts as possible because first semester left me broke. In the first few weeks of January, I had a slew of closing shifts at the register and on the sales floor. They were always pretty dry. One night, a man comes to the register with a return, and then comes back later with a lot of random clothes. Not that weird to have someone with multiple transactions, especially with the holidays having just finished. He's mid-50s, a South Asian accent, and really distinct salt and pepper hair. Before I go any further, let me mention I'm also a guy, and I'm gay, but I usually have a fake customer voice, so you can't really tell, if you know what I mean. This man is talking to me for a while, and I honestly feel weirdly comfortable with him. At one point, he asked about my pant size and asked me to step back from the register to see my lower body. A lot of people ask me about what size I wear, usually to compare to their teenage sons, so this wasn't weird. But then he comments on my butt being big. I'm kind of half laughing like, oh, people told me that before, and I'm constantly thinking, why would I tell him that? He asked to see it, and in that moment, I almost did, again, while my conscience is screaming not to do that. Before I stopped and said, that's a bad idea, I'd get in trouble over a total joke. And he responds deadpan with, nobody's watching. Oh my god. He just keeps being conversational until I turn around to fold one of his items and he says, your friends were right about your butt. I turn around and he keeps repeating my name that he saw on my name tag, and I put my hand on the register while I wait for his receipt to print. He puts his hand on top of mine and I immediately twist into a handshake to try and normalize this. He says, it was nice to meet you, Andrew. And he walks out. And then he comes back with more random clothing, and before he tries anything, another customer comes and... Fuck, I read that wrong. And then he comes back with... Actually, let me read. Somebody, you guys were shooting me some donos here. Thank you, Venus Flytrap, what's up? With the 5, says, sorry I'm late and haven't been here. Things have been rough. No, that's okay. Thank you so much for the 5. It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. And Pam Elmore with the 2 says, keep us up all night. I could try. I could definitely try. Thank you for the 2. And Breadmouth with the 5 says, I love Tales from the Crypt, and I remember the intro to the show. I always wanted to see the rest of the house. I would buy it. That would be sick, yeah. Thank you for the 5, Breadmouth. Yeah, that would be... That show definitely showed the shit out of me. Joel, do you get a lot of guys telling you they have a big butt or just that one? Well, none lately. None have made comments on my badonkadonk lately, thankfully. I would have to twerk them right into the road. Splatow. Okay. Okay, yeah, he has a lot of random. Wait, I come into... Oh, okay. And then he comes back in with more random stuff. Before he can try anything, another customer comes and suddenly he isn't talking. He mouths something to me at the register and leaves. And he comes back again once the next customer leaves. He asks for the bathroom, goes, and returns less than 30 seconds later. He asks if I work tomorrow. You have to understand my complete panic at this moment, and I just say the first thing that comes to mind, which is the truth. I say yes, and he smiles and leaves. I come into work tomorrow because I'd get a lot of guff if I called out, and I work on the sales floor. I figured nothing is going to happen, and that was just a one-night event with a creeper. I joke about it with my coworker, and then he walks in, and my stomach plummets, and I sprint to the bathroom to hide. My walkie-talkie flies out of my pocket, but I'm too spooked to do anything except beeline to the bathroom. In there, I call every one of my coworkers on the job, but not a single one answers their phone because our managers are bogus about that, and the walkie is gone. I hear footsteps outside the bathroom, and I feel trapped. I feel like vomiting, but open the door, and it's a white guy and his kid, thank God. I dash for my walkie and tell my manager the situation. She lets me take refuge in the back for 10 minutes and then makes me return to work because making women's leggings look pretty is more important than a man prowling the store. He walks around for 45 minutes and my coworkers always stay close to me. My closest friend described it as a lion searching for prey in the store. He was searching every corner, and I was thankful to have great coworkers to keep me on the move and surrounded wherever he came near. Eventually, he returned every item he bought with me yesterday. He told the cashier he'd come back again tomorrow, and I didn't work, so I'm not sure what became of him. I never saw him again. I was arrogant to think as a man I would never be targeted like that by a creep. I won't be returning to the job this summer because my manager's response didn't sit really well with me. And hopefully, I'll find a job where safety is the priority and not an afterthought. Han, are you getting litty for your B-day? You taking 15 shots like yours truly? He was scared, his booty was shaking. Fry, was that you giving him being creepy in the store? What the hell? And Read the Stand. The story is ironically familiar to what is going on with the worldwide pandemic today. Ah, okay. Vincent Price was my childhood crush along with Xena. That's awesome. Xena was badass. Shake that booty. Shake that booty. You don't know how I survived. Honestly, I think it was just the fact that, like, I don't ever drink. So, like, my liver was just like, let's fucking do this. And was just like, processing. Oh, a shot? Processed. Oh, another one? Fuck it, let's go. Bring him on. Oops. Now you have liver cancer. Alexis, thank you. I was in college. My roommate was a born-again Christian, and she invited me to her Bible study and church all the time. Eventually, I went, and I kept going. Wasn't a fan of the pastor, but there were a lot of nice young adults who liked to have clean, sober fun, and I didn't drink or party, so I felt like I fit in. But I didn't agree with everything they believed in, just the more normal stuff like God and helping the poor, and not some other things. This one guy in the Bible study, Drew, was pretty quiet. He was good looking. He seemed like he knew everything about the Bible, which really amazed me. I thought, I know nothing about all this. He's so wise. I was 21 and he was 27. He wasn't a college student, he just worked, which I later learned. Maybe he didn't. We were going to go on a young adult retreat, and because I worked, I couldn't leave early on Friday to drive up to the mountains with the girls in the group. Mutual friends that Bridget Jones with a 5 says, good night. Ooh, good night, Bridget. Sleep well. Thank you so much for hanging out. See you on the digital world of Discord. Breadmoth with the 2 says, I need Let's Read wallpaper. Have Robin make some. Yeah, we've got a lot of cool designs. If there's any one you have in particular in mind, let me know or let him know. I might even already have it ready to rock and roll. Mutual friends said that I could ride with Drew, so I said okay. On the way up, Drew was pretty quiet for the first hour. Not very friendly at all, and it was a long trip. But as we got closer to the mountains, he really warmed up. We got pizza and he paid, which was nice. Then he stopped the car just so we could look at the stars. He even played some Brian McKnight. He was... Whoops. Demolition Mitch with a 5 Canadian maple syrup buckaroonie says, have you ever had a scary experience yourself? Side question, what's the best, scariest true story you've ever had submitted to you? Oh man, that's a tough question. Honestly, I haven't had a lot of scary things occur to me, other than some sleep paralysis stuff, and it's like I haven't really existed in many dangerous locations throughout the world. Even, when I was in Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, where crime is a little bit, not as policed down there, I guess you could say, and we were kind of like targets. It still wasn't, I didn't, maybe it was just because I'm a guy or whatever, but I still didn't have any issues. Yeah, I don't know. I really haven't had, I'm very thankful, obviously. I haven't had a lot of bad stuff happen to me or scary things, but, and then as far as the best scary stories I've had to read, I just really enjoyed whenever I was, there was a period of time I was reading a lot of creepypastas, and, one of my favorite ones was the singing in the woods, or the chanting in the woods, written by a friend of mine, the Axeman cartoons, and I always thought that was a very good one, and just very well paced, and a lot of tension. But as far as true scary stories go, there's just a lot of stuff. I really enjoy when people submit sort of true crime, almost documentary style audit, write-ups and stuff, because it's they put a lot of work into doing research. So if that's something you guys are ever interested in doing, if you've done research on different cases and you want to submit them, I say send her on through. Almond Milk, we are on story 5. You just got here. Shit. Yeah, sometimes my streams I feel go by so quick. He was turning it into a date, but I didn't know it or see it that way then. I was starting to really like him and feel like we had a connection. He is just about to drop me off at the girls' cabin when he suddenly gets very serious and tells me that something happened between him and another girl in our church group, but she is telling lies about him and to not believe whatever I hear. He doesn't explain what actually happened and doesn't say who it is. I enter the cabin and all the girls are there, and very quickly one girl, Bree, who is probably the youngest in the group at 19, tells all of us, "Ladies, there is a wolf in sheep's clothing amongst us at this retreat." Now, if you don't know church folk, they get very dramatic and talk like this all the time. So I just thought, okay, here's some drama. She tells us this story about how she was talking to some guy here, but he started stalking her and wouldn't take no for an answer, and he even threatened her sister. Now my spidey sense is up, and I realize this must be what Drew was telling me about. The church group doesn't know who it is because she won't say, because she doesn't want to gossip, and she says leadership will handle it. Well, Drew eventually leaves the weekend retreat early, and there goes my ride back, I thought. I don't know if he was asked to leave or what. That week, Drew asked me to hang out, and we do. I still like him and don't know who to believe. On our hangouts, we don't really do anything. He takes me to the mall and reads the Bible to me. Okay, cool. Then he parks his car on some suburban lookout, top of the world type of thing, and just said he is a view guy who really likes views. I am not one to be impressed by suburban lights, so I'm just like, okay, well, this is boring. I give him another chance. I invite him to come see a play with me. When he comes, he immediately meets one of my friends, Brian. Brian introduced us to his boyfriend, Nick. I'm in theater, many gay friends. Well, for the majority of the rest of the date, Drew lectures me about gays are going to suffer and I must not really love them if I don't stop them to tell them the truth about the gospel. I eventually cry because it is this ugly argument in this car we're having for hours in the parking lot of a Panera. I say I want to go home. This is basically the worst date ever. I don't agree with what he says. He also tells me I need to give up my dream of being an actress because what if the Lord doesn't want me to do that? Theater is something I did my whole life. Not to mention my major, and his reasons for giving it up had nothing to do with the impracticality of it, but because of God. This guy was turning out to be nuts. I get home and I offer to make us some cocoa to just kind of end things as friends, or at least on a better note. I know I'll see him at church and we have mutual friends or in the same Bible study. Things got weird. He tried to get intimate with me, but then also blamed me for tempting him. How, with my tear-stained and exhausted face? I ended up crying again. I just wanted him to go home, but I was so emotionally exhausted, I didn't know what to make of this. He calls and texts me that week, and I don't respond. Then it's Sunday night. I'm talking to my friend Tim, who no longer goes to this church anymore. I tell him I went on a date with Drew, and before I can tell him how it went, Tim says, "What? That guy's crazy. You need to abort that mission." Tim tells me that he is close with Bree and her family, and Drew is a stalker and threatened Bree's sister. I don't know what to believe because it sounds like Tim believes this just based on Bree's story. I hang up and call my mom to try to tell her what happened, what Tim told me about Drew, and how it was such weird timing considering what happened with me. While I'm on the phone with my mom, I get a knock at the door. It is 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. I look out, but no one's there. I go to get my roommate and ask her if she can just sit with me in the front room because I'm freaked out and think someone's there. There is another knock at the door. I open it, and it's Drew, and he looks all in a frenzy. I ask him what he's doing here, and he said he just needed to talk to me, and I wasn't answering my phone, which was because I was generally busier earlier in the day. The conversation is getting long, and my roommate is still sitting there, so I tell her she can go back to her room if it's okay. I let him come in because I am conditioned to be kind of overly nice, and this was a big mistake. We start talking, and as soon as my roommate is gone, he pulls out a knife and starts saying how he was worried my neighbors did something to me because I wasn't answering his texts, and he didn't know what kind of situation he'd be walking into. I have zero fighting skills, no experience in this situation at all, so I calmly say, as casually as possible, "Hey, can you put the knife away? It makes me feel uncomfortable." He asks me if I want the knife, and I say no, I just want to pretend it isn't here. I somehow talk him down, get him to leave. I think I convince him he still has a shot with me somehow. The next morning, my mind is clear, and I feel like I need to tell my mom what happened. She has me tell my dad, who has me tell the church youth leader and security at my apartment. I tell the cop the whole story, and he says that this guy is definitely a stalker, and I will see him again unless the police call him. I say it's fine, I think everything will be okay, no need to call. I just didn't want more drama. I'd never talked to a policeman about anything before, and I was still processing and didn't understand that this was serious. And that was my mistake. The next night, I went to a party, another church-related one, but Drew is not supposed to be here. He told me before that he wasn't going. Well, there he is. And I decide to leave, but my 21-year-old self doesn't think to ask to have someone walk me out. I figured if I leave and he's still here, problem solved. I didn't anticipate him realizing I left and following me. I'm walking to my car in a dark apartment parking lot, and I hear him call out my name. He's following me. I start running and I say I don't want to talk. He begins giving chase. I'm clicking my car to open, thinking this is how white girls die because she didn't let the cop call the stalker because she's dumb. Thankfully, my car unlocks. I get in and drive away. Problem is, this guy knows where I live. I move out 2 weeks later, and I block him on all social media and my phone. Drew eventually somehow managed to make another Facebook profile and sent me a message that summer saying he was praying for me, and he had forgiven me for trashing him to people, even though I still never told anyone that happened except for the useless pastor who did nothing. And that was the last I saw or heard of him. Unfortunately, this predator continued to serve at that church in the junior high ministry of all places, around many young girls. No one on church leadership listened to me or to Bree, who both complained that this guy was stalking us. I never reached out to Bree to let her know what happened to me, and I never got to hear her story in detail. But I told the youth adult pastor about the knife and him trying to get intimate with me and how scared I was. Thankfully, I don't go to that church anymore. This was all a pre-Me Too movement, and what sucks is that I've had a few experiences with crazy religious dudes. This was the first, but definitely not the last. I'm still trying to come to terms with why that is.
God wants us to make babies. Don't you understand? Don't you understand, my love? God has preordained us. He has preordained me to stick my tongue down your throat.
Sorry, that was a bit much, but yeah, church is weird. A lot of nice people, probably some of the nicest people who come across, but also quite a bit of crazy people too. The church that I went to probably had a series of like 3 or 4 actually crazy people enter into it and leave it through a process of just either harassing people or saying some really outlandish things, some of them correlated to the usage of LSD, and being asked to leave that way. But I don't know. Life is kind of wild. It's actually surprising to me that people can make it out of life without being a little bit nuts, but some of us unfortunately end up on the nuttier spectrum of things. Like, if you could really label nuts, like, some of us end up like full-on almonds. Full-on almonds. God wants us to be together, but we can't have sex. I don't know. It's like, religion is just tough. I mean, I've talked about it forever, but it's just like, religion makes some very extraordinary claims, and with extraordinary claims usually requires extraordinary evidence. Jennifer Timmons says, so listening to you and just got a new piercing. Nice. Right on the belly button. Pretty sure you're on the nutty spectrum. I mean, if you can control it, you're probably not. You know what I mean? If you know you're nuts, you might just be, what did they say? I just watched that movie, The Hunt, and she's like, if you know you're nuts, you're not nuts. You're just very, very angry. Which I think, yeah, I think I told people I went and saw The Invisible Man, and I saw this movie called The Hunt. It was interesting. It was funny. The Hunt definitely kind of like right out the gate played into certain tropes, but then like destroyed those tropes, which were kind of nice. Where, Joel, where? Wait, where am I? Oh, I didn't get a piercing, if that's what you're talking about. Pam, what's up? Joel, hey. You're listening while drawing, Sassy Pants? What are you drawing? We gotta see it. We just gotta see it. Put it in the Discord. Art. There's so many good artists in the artist Discord area. It's very good. Cashy needs a good nut. Some of us are looking for a nut. People drive you crazy. Yeah, this is true, man. This is true. The Invisible Man was good. The reason I think The Invisible Man was bad, and I'll tell you why, is because the same movie was done twice before, if not 3 times before. It's like, you already know what the fuck's going on. This motherfucker is invisible, and you're gonna and then he's, you know, fucking with people, and she's gonna be in a scenario in which, you know, she's got to explain why she's not crazy, and then, oh, lo and behold, she gets retribution. You know what I mean? It's just like a very predictable type of sort of thingamajig.
Keep reading, for fuck's sake, keep reading.
People get so angry sometimes when I don't read. I can assure you that all these stories will be edited in their entirety tomorrow and on Patreon. The suit did gross you out. Interesting. Why did it gross you out? I was confused. Did the suit make him stronger too? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not that I hated the movie. It was just like, it was very predictable to me. Like, for someone who has seen like, literally I was, you know, alive when the first one came out, and it's like, I know it wasn't the exact same plot, but it was just kind of like, okay. And it was really slow in the beginning before, like, the intense shit happened. And fucking hell, I don't know. Once The Hunt came on after that, it was substantially much better at keeping my sort of ADHD mind attentive, and it was, you know, much less predictable, I suppose. The Hunt played in a lot of, like, political tropes, you know what I mean? Which, for, like, you know, like, the whole post-2016, like, Twitter era was funny, I guess, you know what I mean? But it was nice because they hit both sides, so it didn't really seem, like, hyper-partial, I guess, even though maybe it did a little. Oh, tryptophobia. Yeah, I've heard of tryptophobia. You would hate, what is it, Junji Ito. Gerson Monroy with a 5 says, listening while recovering from a procedure I had done. Oh, dang. Well, I hope you're feeling better, my friend. Hope you're up and at 'em here soon. Getting lots of PT if need be. I don't know if that's the procedure. Oh, you didn't know that it saw that it was done. Okay, done in the 40s. So yeah, there was one. Let's see, Invisible Man movie. 2000s. I think it was in the 2000s. Like, oh, it's called Hollow Man. Oh, maybe dude, those actually are two completely different things. But like, I guess for me, it's like, yeah, I don't know if you remember Hollow Man. I forget who the fuck was in that. Just the concept of, I guess, was sort of played out for me, and I kind of, I don't know, everything that happened, I called it before it even occurred, and it was like, okay. Hobart Skinner, that's a great name, with a 5 says, love your content. It gets me through some long sleepless nights, work some extra hours, so here's some bucks. Thanks you, my friend. Thank you, Mr. Skinner. Thank you for the 5. And Michelle with the 5 says, I'm about to go nuts. I'm a dispatcher and had a bad call. Now in the quiet room, thankfully listening to you. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope we can help get your mind off of things a little bit here. We're just kind of having a relaxing night. Might even extend this stream a bit, as I feel like we kind of burned through these stories and there's only 2 left. Been only going for about an hour and a half. Brazzer, same storyline. Interesting. Marie Elise Ruiz has become a new member of the Buttersock cult in a full-grown pizza. Wait a second. Oh, there it is. I was like, where's that? Where's the notification? But I heard, when I saw you pop up, I heard it over there. But that was actually Miss Molly, who donated 5, says, I just love and adore you as a whole. That's it. Thank you, Miss Molly. I appreciate that. Thank you. You love my smutty voice. Kevin Bacon. Dude, Kevin Bacon's badass. Do you know who's like a super underrated actor? And you guys can disagree with me if you think this, but Ethan Hawke. Dude, Ethan Hawke is in a lot of pretty decent movies, and like, I think he does a good job. You know what I mean? Like, you see him in it, and it's usually a relatively interesting flick. He doesn't force anything. He doesn't like. He just. I feel like he's just a fucking actor. You know. I don't know like to what extent he gets involved in you know, espousing opinions and things of the nature, which to me kind of annoys me related to a lot of actors. But I really, really enjoy the actors who are mature, they're wise, they're good at acting, and they just do their fucking job. You know what I mean? And I feel like Ethan Hawke seems like one of those characters that like would show up in an episode of Louie, you know, the comedy show Louie, and you wouldn't have anticipated it, but could like end up being really fucking funny. Captain Berto with a 5 says, "Hey Joe, I'm chilling, having coffee, listening to you. Can call me Albert. Great content." Hey, thanks, my friend. Thank you, Albert. Hope you're enjoying that coffee. What do you got in that coffee? Is it just a straight black, or you got cream and shug? Cream and shug. I put a little bit of almond milk in mine. Lila, you don't know who the fuck Ethan Hawke is? You had to have seen some of Ethan Hawke's horror movies. He's been in some horror movies, and if you haven't, you should look him up. You should look up his horror movies for sure. And he's been in some like pretty like surreal flicks as well. What's that one? Have you guys ever seen Waking Life? It's a 2001 film. It's done all in rotoscope. If you guys have not seen the movie Waking Life, it's done in rotoscope, which is basically like filmed first, and then like they animate over it in different animation styles, so it looks like really fluid. Ethan Hawke is in that movie, and you know, he's not like the main star, but I just recall that he's in it, and that's a phenomenal movie. It's like one of those movies that literally, I mean, it is a dream, like it's a movie about a dream, but it reminds you so much of a dream because it just like takes you to so many different concepts and ideas, and almost makes you wish that you could know how to like lucid dream or astral project and that kind of thing, because it kind of crosses those boundaries. Tammy Lou with a 5 says, "Your voice helps my night shift go by so much easier. Thanks so much." Thank you, Tammy. Gotten like 3 night shift donos in a row there, so thank you. Yeah, much love to the night shifters, because I am right there with you. I worked quite a few years in night shift, and I do recall like many a time having conversations with my coworkers, and as I was talking to them, I fell asleep in my chair. Which is not a great idea when you are a medical professional, but they were quick to give me a slap on the face for sure. Lorelli, you love Waking Life. I know, it's so good. I love those movies that just like, they just feel like they're outside of time and space. Dead Poets Society, yes, also a very, very good movie. Amethyst Alchemist with a 2 says, "Have you seen Tusk?" I've heard of Tusk, and I kind of know how the ends, but I should probably just like give it a full watch through sometime. Dino Boy Legos says, "What to you is the creepiest or terrifying book you've read recently? I'm trying to compile some books to pass the time during quarantine." Well, creepy books are hard for me because like creepiness, I feel like is hard to exude within the form of a book. Oh, you know what was actually kind of weird and actually made me feel really uncomfortable as a whole, and it wasn't necessarily like a fictional book, but it was, if you ever read any stuff by Carl Jung, it's called The Red Book, and if you ever read Carl Jung, this book called The Red Book, I feel like in the book he's like losing his mind and is like seeing ghosts and shit, and it's all like his sort of internal reflections, and there's a lot of like strange wisdom in it, but I think you could probably gather a relatively powerful sense of ethereal fear by digging into that one. How many pages? It's 404 pages, so I mean, it's, you know, definitely keep you busy for a bit. All right, so story numero 60. When I was in my early 20s, I worked as a bank teller for a couple of years before moving on to my current industry. I had been having a run of self-induced bad dating luck. Self-induced meaning I was choosing fellas that were fast, dirty, and fun while... Sorry, I burped. Yeah. Hannah is the assistant to the assistant regional moderator around here, so... Is Alex E here tonight? If he's not here, he's not gonna get promoted, my dude. You Googled Ethan Hawke and it looks like the guy who sings Ice Ice Baby. Oh my god. What's his name? Vanilla Ice, I guess, right? Unless you're talking about like the original in the 80s or something, or prior to that. Din 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 din. Alex is not prohibited in the chat. He's working. What a loser. This is his job. JK. I've been having a run of self-induced bad dating luck. Self-induced meaning I was choosing fellas that were fast, dirty, and fun while expecting to find long-lasting love. There was this guy who was a manager of a local country western-style nightclub that did their banking business with the bank I worked at that was not my type and totally the opposite of the kind of fellas that I'd been going for. When he started coming inside the bank for the club's deposits, we had some fun back and forth banter that led to flirting over some weeks. Well, he eventually asked me out on a date, and I thought, whatever. He's witty and I really enjoyed talking to him, so I said yes. Clearly my normal type wasn't working out for me. I was gun-shy after my failed dating experiences, so I suggested lunch to keep things light and casual. He asked if he could still pick me up, and as a sucker for chivalry, I said yes. So he picked me up from the bank's front parking lot. In hindsight, I realized what a bad career decision it was to date a bank customer, let alone get in the car with him right in front of the building. 30-year-old me would kick my 20-something-year-old butt. The front parking lot was for customers only. The back lot was for employees only. The back lot had 3 rows, with third being furthest away from the bank. You probably had to walk 50 yards or so from the back door of the bank to the 3rd row, where I parked. Things seemed totally fine when I got in the car with him. It was pretty typical in terms of awkwardness, considering it was a first date. He drove me to a pub/grill downtown, and that's when things got weird. When we sat down, it was like some other dude took over his body. He started telling me about his most recent breakup and ex-girlfriend, how she ended up being a psycho. She stalked him, took out a restraining order against him, caused him to lose his job, broke his heart, the works. On and on and on. I really don't think I said more than 10 words the whole time, and some of those were to order my food. He talked about his drama the entire time. So, I'm sitting there across the table from Motormouth, and he suddenly says that we should cut the date short so I can get back to the bank in time. He says it will take us too long to get back if we don't leave now. The ride back, he was dead silent until we pulled back up into the parking lot. He tells me he had an amazing time and that he hopes we can do it again. Now, I'm fully aware people can get super nervous on first dates and that many people struggle from social anxiety, so I'm not totally out at this point. I gave the dude my number. Then I thanked him for lunch and went back inside feeling overwhelmed and very puzzled. We were not allowed to have our cell phones out of the bank, so I put it where I always did, inside my bag that was inside my locked teller cabinet. I took a break later that afternoon, and when I checked my phone, I had well over 20 missed calls and text after text after text after text from this guy. He started out sweet, and then when I didn't answer his calls or nice texts, deteriorated into downright nuts. Why aren't you answering? Is it over already? Should I come back to the bank so we can talk? Etc. I was freaked, but it worked. I just threw my phone back in my bag and tried to shake it off. I was mentally beating myself up for my bad choices for the rest of the day. When the bank closed that evening, I locked up my teller drawer and walked out to my car. There was a single red rose tucked into my windshield wiper. I yanked my phone out of my bag, and the last text I had from him was, "I hope you like your surprise." I didn't drive my car to meet this guy for our date. He picked me up in the customer lot. I got to work every day an hour before opening. There's no way he could know what I drove without doing some serious detective work. I snatched the rose off of the car, threw it down, and got out of there fast. I drove around in circles before I went home because I was scared of being followed. I blocked his number. He didn't come back in the lobby again after that day. He started going through the drive-up window. A few months later, after we hadn't seen him for a while, one of the other club employees told us that he had been fired for stealing money. I never told anyone at the bank about it, especially my boss. Sure makes me wonder about all those stories he told about his ex on the lunch date. I told my current boyfriend this story a year or two ago, and he thinks the guy had probably been watching me for a while before he asked me out, and that's how he knew which car was mine. Unfortunately, I may never know. 650 people, they're here for your birthday, Hannah. They're here for your birthday. They all heard about it. They said Hannah's turning 6. Just kidding. How old are you, Hannah? Did you say 23? The big 2-3? It's a very monumental year. Is Jesus in the chat again? He's here to bless us with his presence. There he is, Jesus Christ. Jesus the Christ. Jesus Howard Christ. I know his last name. 22, nice. I did not pass the vibe check. Damn. Call me Shugum. Shugum says, I like your voice, it's so cool. Thank you. I try to impress people through the drive-through. I say, what's up? Sup, dude? Am I drinking tonight? Nah, just water. Just Wawa. And I had some Diet Coke earlier. Jesus calling people crazy. Joel, you should have drank from my B-Day. I guess we could have. We could have did it together. I would have joined you. I still got a little bit of that peanut butter whiskey. It all happened back in the 90s. I would say 96 or 97, and I was something around 14 years old. I had this close friend, Carl. Carl was like a big brother to me, sometimes playful, sometimes a bully. As most of the boys who grew up in the 90s, we spent all of our free time playing video games, watching cheesy horror flicks, and roaming the neighborhood on our bicross bikes. What the fuck is a bicross bike? Steve, you're sipping on the Jameson. Bike row? What's a bike row? I'll just say bikes. I don't know what the fuck a bicross bike is. You got heartburn and only got weed. You know what helps with heartburn is apple cider vinegar. If you got any of that, take 2 tablespoons of that with some, maybe 8 ounces of water. A lot of people don't realize this, but I've talked about it before, and it was something that I was pretty passionate about because I had struggled with it too. But heartburn is essentially in your body, you know, your stomach is at a certain acidity, and your stomach acid wants to sit at around like 3 on the acidity level, pretty much as acidic as you can get without like hurting your mucous membrane that kind of surrounds the top layer of, I guess, your epithelial cells of your stomach. But basically, a lot of people will say to take antacids, and that's actually the opposite thing you want to do, because as you take antacids, it actually neutralizes your acid that's used to kind of like break down food. And what happens is, like, when you eat a lot of like sugar, when you eat a lot of carbs, there's certain bacteria that exist in your stomach, primarily yeast, that will feed off of the sugar and replicate itself. You know, it can essentially create, as you know, how like certain bacterium can kind of replicate itself using glucose, and then what happens is a byproduct that it releases is a bicarbonate, therefore making your stomach acid substantially more basic, like less acidic to break down food. So then the muscles in your stomach that kind of like it will like it will like slosh around the very weak acid that it has down there to try to like cover a large majority of the food is to help break it down faster. But what ends up happening is you'll there's also what's called like a pyloric sphincter that enters into your stomach from the esophagus, and it's just like a strange phenomena, but like whenever your stomach is less acidic, that sphincter will like open up, and as your stomach starts to slosh around all that stomach acid, it will actually shoot that acid back up into your throat, and that's where you kind of get like what they call heartburn, because it's in your esophagus and it makes you feel as if though it's painful in your chest, and it can be very painful because it's essentially like your body shooting acid back up into areas that aren't commonly capable of dealing with the presence of acid. So the best thing you can do is to decrease your sugar intake overall, and then also you can consume different things that will help with acidity. Primarily the most easiest one is a pretty healthy consumption of apple cider vinegar, 2 tablespoons with some 8 ounces of water prior to every meal and that kind of thing. I'm so smart, it's a turn on. Well, I've honestly, that's one of the few topics that I like was really into, because I was looking into keto, and keto really goes into that, But yeah, so basically people take antacids like Tums, and Tums is like probably one of the fucking worst things you could take, because it might neutralize the acid that's shooting up into your esophagus, giving you the heartburn, but it's actually making your overall issue of having a very weak acidity within your stomach even weaker, even more basic on the scale of acid and basic. So yeah, apple cider vinegar, it does smell like feet. It's not the best thing. That's why people dilute it in water, and you don't want to just drink it straight, because it is very acidic as well. But it's like apple cider vinegar is like a fucking miracle cure, I swear to God. You do apple cider and Arm and Hammer. Arm and Hammer, is that like a talcum? What the hell is an Arm and Hammer? I would avoid Arm and Hammer, because that sounds as if though it would be like, yeah, it's a baking soda, so you're just like, you're basically sending like a neutralizing agent down into your stomach, kind of like Tums. So just stick with the apple cider vinegar with water, because Arm and Hammer also is like a fucking baking soda chemical that I don't know if you should be consuming that. Sodium bicarbonate, yeah. No thank. Yeah, don't do that anymore. Yeah, because I mean, basically, yeah. Once again, it's a lot like Tums, where it neutralizes your acid, but you actually, what you want to end up doing is with water trying to, and apple cider vinegar, like increase the power of your acid, so that your muscles and your esophagus and the sphincter there doesn't kind of go through its like instinctual process of shaking itself around to cover the food as much, you know what I mean? And there's other things you can take too that'll help with increasing your acidity. You can take enzymes and stuff to help break down certain foods. There's all sorts of cool stuff you can find online and Amazon. I love going to this one guy. His name's Dr. Berg. He's on YouTube. He's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of interesting information you can find on there, and I think he's incredibly intelligent. Fluffwitta. Yes. Oh, wow. We're almost at 666 viewers. Blah, 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 blah. As most of the boys who grew up in the 90s, we spent all of our free time playing video games, watching cheesy horror flicks, and roaming around the neighborhood on our bikes, all stickered up like motorcycles. Once in a while, my mother would take us to my grand's. They lived in the countryside just outside of our town. After having our meal, we would usually gear up, grab some snacks and juices, and jump on our bikes to go to the lake. To do so, we had to ride till the end of a bumpy road, then go through a sunflowers field. The lake was downhill from there, and every time we'd cross the field, a building in the far would intrigue us. It seemed abandoned. It was a typical factory building from the 80s. We could see a lot of windows were jammed, some parts of the roof had holes, and the sun was beaming from it. I swear we came across this place 30 times at least. Sometimes we came closer. Sometimes we'd come closer and played dare. I always end up being the chicken, as Carl was really willing to check in there. One day, though, I think she meant to say truth or dare. I swear we came across this place 30 times at least. Sometimes we'd come closer and play truth or dare. I always end up being the chicken, as Carl was really willing to check in there. One day, though, I was dared. We parked the bikes again the wooden fence. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, someone earlier today told me they were into K-pop, and I was like, North Korean K-pop? And I was thinking, if North Korea doesn't have K-pop, like North K-pop, we need to get working on that, guys. I honestly think K-pop could be what saves North Korea. That's what we need to start introducing. Of course, I guess Kim Jong-il, or whatever his name would probably be, just clones of him would make up all of the bands. Sadie, you never get notifications. Yeah, I don't know. It pisses me off because I know a lot of people have notifications on. They have it set to their emails. And I don't know if they're... I mean, basically all I ever say is, like, go follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy. Go follow me on Instagram at letsread.official. And you should be updated whenever I'm streaming, primarily on Twitter. And just so you know, my streaming schedule is usually... So when I release videos, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but my stream schedule is Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, usually the night before. So just to give you an idea if you're kind of like looking for it. But even some people have said that even though I was live, they like couldn't see it on my main page that I was live. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with YouTube. Like, whenever I get notified to come to Twitch, like, all the fucking time. Like, if you follow a streamer on Twitch, if you even follow them, like, you get an email every time they go live, you know what I mean, for all of them. And it's like, dude, tell me why the fuck YouTube just doesn't do that shit, you know what I mean? Just seems crazy to me, you know? Yo, daddy didn't beat you and it shows. I know, I need daddy to beat me. Hey, Mediocre Bit with the 20 buckarona says some people are like a treasure. You just want to bury them deep in the ground. This is very true. I'm coming for that booty. Do I have TikTok? I don't. I go on it once in a while. But I never made a TikTok. I had a Vine for a period of time, but that got dismantled. And I just haven't ventured over into the TikTok because I just, like, haven't really seen the point in it. K-hip-hop, okay. We parked the bikes against a wooden fence and then we started the trespassing. Outside the building, a dozen of rusty cars, engines out, some seats put on the floor, some others burnt or mauled. The entrance was poorly barricaded, but enough to make us climb up a pipe to the first window we saw. The inside was shocking. It looked like if people stopped all that they were doing to rush out. Tools were disposed on workshops. A car was hung up by a huge chain and it was still slightly moving. The only thing that yelled abandon was the tremendous amount of dirt and dust. I remember Carl found an iron pole and started swinging like he was a video game character or whatever. I knew him. Even if he played it cool, I felt he was scared and tried to act tough. We headed to what seemed to be the administrative aisle. It was upstairs. We had to take some thin iron stairs, threatening to detach from the staircase on every breath. The gloominess intensified. This place was basically a long hallway with offices all along. Again, it could have been fictional the week before because except the dust and... functional, sorry. Again, it could have been functional the week before because except the dust and the stuffy smell, everything was left untouched. In a room, we found a newspaper from 1984 or 85. It made us compute that they had bailed out this year. Oh, my voice just cracked. Fuck. In a room, we found a newspaper from 1984 or 85, and it made us compute that they had bailed out this year. What impressed me the most was the family pictures and frames that we found in some offices. That was creepy. Who would leave work forever without taking back pictures of your kids and women? At this time, a picture meant something. Smartphones didn't exist, so if you lost it, it was done. When we took back the stairs, Carl saw a small wooden door under the staircase, and it led to a basement. That place looked inhabited. The floor was covered with trash, feces, and it smelled like urine. In a corner, we found the actively decaying corpse of a cat. A green curtain was hanging and masked what we were about to see. Behind the curtains, we stared in awe in front of a man lying on the floor. He was gibbering words we didn't understand and didn't directly look at us. Another man was facing a wall. Although it was clear we were there, I even stumbled with an empty can. He was still facing that wall. To this day, I don't know what he was doing. Now it was clear that the laying guy was drooling and had his eyes completely covered red. We ran out of there. I recall jumping on my bike and seeing a silhouette behind a window on the first floor. And we never told the story to our parents as we were too afraid of being grounded. Last year I chatted with Carl on social media, as we hadn't seen each other for 15 years. I asked him if he remembered that day, and he told me, "Of course I remember. I was soiling my pants, dude. I didn't want to go there at all. And I never thought that you would say dare."
Alex N, what's up, my dog? My doggy? Scare Central. Let's read. I write all original stories and I have hundreds. Nice. Do you do some narrations, I presume, as well? Oh, man. Joel could be famous on the thirsty side of TikTok. I guess there's a thirsty side for everything. Do I have a favorite story? If so, could you tell us? I mean, I don't really know. Sometimes they kind of blend together, you know what I mean? Like, that one's pretty interesting there with, like, the drooling homeless people. Like, you presume that they're, like, probably on something or overdosing or who knows. Steve B says, I only weigh 140, not sure if I could ever get to benching 275. Well, you never know. Some people's muscle densities are pretty intense. I've seen a lot of, like, really, really low weight people on, like, the Chinese weightlifting team who are pretty, like, you know, not very large individuals, and man, they're like squatting and fucking benching like definitely obviously twice their weight, but close to like 3 times. It's insane. Hey, it's Slap Tam says, just dropping by to hear some spoop. Nice, Slap Tam. Well, you know what, that was the last story there, but just for you, my friend, we are going to, if it's okay with the chat, it's okay with everybody else, we are going to read another one. Maybe I can pick one out of a hat here from the old Google document. He stalked us until the day he died. You guys can tell me which one. I'll just pick 3 random ones. He stalked us until the day he died. Does your dog bite? Or my personal experience with a murderer. Woo. Yeah, we got a freaking celebrity in the chat right now. What's up, Slaptam? How art thou, my friend? What kind of videos you working on lately? I feel honored to imagine another big-time YouTube boy coming in here to use my content to just chill. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'll read them again. Let's say, my personal experience with a murderer, does your dog bite, or he stalked me until the day I died. Love the visuals. Yeah, you should get with my boy if you ever need anything like that, you know, for your own streams, or, you know, he does thumbnails. But a good friend of mine, Robin Mikalsen, he's on Instagram there, and you some of my Instagram posts and Twitter posts, I'll like tag him in there. But if you're curious, just, you know, DM me. He's a very affordable, very talented artist with 3D animation and Photoshop. But if you're ever looking for some like badass thumbnails or some sort of background imagery and stuff, I'm sure he would love to work with you. So DM me, or could definitely find it on
Insta-slam. Seeing a lot of dog-related requests here, so I figured that would be the situation, because who doesn't love a good doggo getting a chunk out of someone's ass? Okay, yeah. Fuck it, let's go. Slaptam says, I'm really good, dude. Researching some ghost footage in a minute. Nice. Dude, ghost footage. I had like on my... I used to do a little bit of countdown stuff on my channel. And I have like Japanese, like top 10 most haunted Japanese locations or something. Or like Japanese footage or something like that. It's been forever. But it's actually a pretty solid video. My narration voice is definitely different at that point. It was like back when I was very kind of like slow and methodical, and the bass was like massive related to my microphone that I was using. But definitely take a peek if you ever get a chance. Aurora, you're welcome. Have a good night. Okay, yes, so we went with the Does Your Dog Bite? Everybody loves a good doggo, so we will jump into this bad boy. You guys can all thank Slaptam for that one, and go give him a kiss and subscribe to his channel too. He's got some amazing content that goes right along with all this good stuff. Very spoopy. For background, my family moved to the countryside from the city when I was about 7 years old, and I'm 21 now. Both my parents had grown up in the suburbs and had lived in the capital of our state for about 10 years before we moved. It definitely took us some time to get used to the train tracks that ran by our house, the wild animals, the weird but kind neighbors, and the odd visitors. Another thing is that you have to get off the main road and turn onto a long gravel drive to get up to our house. We can see the entire length of the driveway from certain points in our yard, which is about 3 acres. A few years after we moved in, my dad got a promotion at work and, as a result, started to go to conferences and business trips that lasted from a few days to a week, at least a couple of times a year. My mom felt nervous about being home with 2 young kids. I was 10 and my brother was 6, and so we decided to get a dog. We knew we wanted a big dog, but something that would be gentle with my brother and I. After a few weeks looking at shelters, we took home Rocky. He was 9 months when we took him home, and already pushing 70 pounds. We believe he's a German Shepherd mixed with some northern or mountain breed. We aren't sure to this day, but he's a massive red-colored dog with a long black muzzle and ears, a fluffy tail that he carries over his back, and a white stripe up his nose. It wasn't long until he was 100 pounds and an absolute force to be reckoned with. Even though he was very gentle with both my brother and I, loved our cats, and was a big ball of joy around anyone we brought into our house, he tended to be very territorial and aggressive with other dogs, and very protective of us, especially of my mom and I. Once, the electric company came to do work on the telephone poles in our property without telling us first, and after 20 minutes they finally had to call us because Rocky had them trapped in their truck and was just jumping up and barking at their windows. I doubt he would have really attacked them if they'd gotten out of their trucks, but it was more than enough to make them think twice. This protective instinct came in very, very handy one day. It was summertime. My dad was at work, and my mom was home with my brother and I, since she was a teacher and off for the summer with us. My mom was working in our garden, and my brother and I were playing close by with Rocky watching over all of us. Rocky, all of a sudden, sounded the alarm, throwing his head up in the air and barking and howling. He makes a deep woo-woo noise. I looked up to see a dirty white pickup truck pull off from the main road and into our driveway. This wasn't necessarily alarming at first, as people sometimes used our driveway to turn around when they got lost. But the white pickup slowly ambled up our driveway, and I could see something strange in the bed. It was lumpy and discolored, but I couldn't really tell what it was until we pulled all the way up to our house, where our other cars were, and honked the horn to get our attention. It was meat. Giant red chunks of meat with some of the limbs of various animals still attached. It was the creepiest thing I'd ever seen. Just a grizzled, scraggly man in his early 50s, driving a pickup truck full of meat in the southern July heat. I immediately just got a really, really bad vibe from this guy, and I remember my mom telling my brother and I to go inside, and we did, but watched out the glass door. Rocky had surprisingly been quiet at that point, but was now next to my mom, and she had her hand around his collar. The guy rolled down his window and asked my mom if she wanted to purchase some meat. My mom said no, and to please leave our property. Instead, he went on about different types of meat and asking how much we wanted: beef, venison, pork, etc. My mom asked him to leave again, but instead, he decided to get out of the nasty white pickup. As soon as his feet were on the ground, Rocky went ballistic, barking and snarling. This finally made the guy stop. He looked at Rocky, looked at my mom, and asked, "Does your dog bite?" And my mom, deathly serious, replied, "Only if I tell him to." The guy took one more look at Rocky and, I'm guessing, decided not to mess with the giant, snarling beast. He got back in his truck, backed up, and headed back down our driveway. I don't know if he was really selling meat or not, but apparently he'd been around to our neighbors who also had just gotten a really bad vibe from him. We'll never know what he was really up to with those giant slabs of meat in the bed of his pickup truck. Maybe he was just a weird guy trying to sell some sketchy meat. Maybe he was looking for something else. We never saw Meat Man, and as we started to call him again, though. Rocky is still kicking it, by the way. He's almost 15 and completely deaf, but he's still out in the yard on summer days, watching over us.
Well, goddamn, boys and girls. I burned through that story without making a single mistake, I do believe. I guess, slapped ham is my good luck charm. Me good luck charm. Me lucky charms. You have a chow chow and love that big boy so much. Yeah, I hope to get a big dog one day. They are awfully amazing animals. That is a good dog, yeah. That's a good kitty. Dog, sorry. Bruh, memento. Sketchy meat. Anybody want some sketchy meats? Sketchy meats here. Get your sketchy meats. Some slap. Yeah, he was selling some slapped ham, some slap meat. That's funny. Well, my friends, you're successfully spooked. You are very welcome, Slapped Ham. Thank you for blessing us with your presence in this chat. Everybody, yeah, go say hi to Slapped Ham on his channel. Take a peek at his stuff. And yeah, Slapped Ham, check out Robin Mikalsen. If you, DM me if you need any, linkage to him. He's super talented. Definitely saves me a lot of time when I'm trying to, make some, top-notch graphics or, thumbnail kind of stuff. So thanks again for stopping by, my friends. And thank you guys. Thank all of you guys for being here. I really do appreciate it. Another stream in the bag. I will go ahead and read the outro here that will cover pretty much, as you guys know, everything you need to know about the channel and where to follow and stuff. Like, how many accents can I do? Honestly, I'm not very good at accents. My roommate, he's amazing at accents. I mean, he can do Australian, Irish, Scottish, UK, really anything he can pretty much emulate perfectly. It's incredibly impressive. And he's also incredibly good at doing improv while existing in that character. Slapped Ham says, "Hey, are we connected on Twitter? I think we are. We should collab." Oh yeah, I am down for a collab anytime, my friend. Anytime you want. I will lend my illustrious tones your direction. You hit me up and we can make it happen for sure. Collab, 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 collab. The chat just starts shaking. You guys are witnessing history right now. Live on YouTube on Let's Read stream. Slapped Ham and Let's Read. Let's read some Slapped Ham. He slapped my ham.
All right, let me read this right quick. Tell me something funny to say in the outro. If Slap Tam is here, I will, whatever he says to, because normally at the end I say, thanks so much, friends, and remember, and then I say like a tagline. So if you're still in the chat, Slap Tam, tell me something funny to say, and I will absolutely record it. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, unless he bailed. He may have bailed already. Unless he's thinking of something funny. Do I remember the 21st night of September? Remember the 21st night of September. I don't, though. Karina Strago with the 6 Aussie bucks says, hey man, when are you going to come to Australia? I don't know. Where should I go? Oh, wait, here we go. Slaptam says, remember to tickle that bell icon. Yeah, I like it. To slap my ham. That'd be funny if they just, like, it was, instead of a bell, it was just like an arbitrary, like, slab of ham. Like, oh, okay, I guess that's just YouTube's thing. Thanks so much, friends. And remember to tickle that... Fuck. I don't know why I fucked that up. Thanks so much, friends. Oh, there was like a... I used this thing called Flux, and like the thing like completely covered over your message completely, so I couldn't like read it. It says, I'm cursed. Thanks so much, friends. And remember to tickle that bell icon to get notifications. Nice. Oh, Brob Ross is here. What's up, Brob? A little late, you dingle dick. Just kidding. Love you. Kisses. Let's read. Oh, man. Your ex-wife's birthday. Oh, you're trying to forget. Oh, is that when it is? The 21st. Well, my friends, another amazing stream in the Brooks. Oh, Brob. Oh, Brob Ross. Why don't you paint us a picture? That must have been what you were doing to completely miss all the stream. I had to kick like 50 people. They kept sending wiener pics, dude. All the sex bots had infiltrated. They're worse than a disease. They're everywhere. Anyways, guys, thank you again so much for everything. A lot of fun tonight. Got up to 700 viewers. It was great. We got an appearance from Slap Tom, and he and I shall be doing a collab here in the future, which I'm excited about. You guys should be too. Awesome. Thanks, Slap Tam. Have a good night, my friend. Looking forward to working with you, and thank you guys. As you know, yeah, this video will be up first on Patreon, $1 a month, and then it will also come out on YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know the deal. So, much love to you. And Ireland Irish has become a full-grown pizza and a member of the Buttersock cult. Thank you so much, Ireland, for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Everybody welcome Ireland Irish with some excessive amount of love to the point where he feels mildly uncomfortable. That would be great. But deuces and juices, my friends. Stay safe, stay charming, wipe your butt with Charmin. Okay. Goodbye.